I wonder how you saw the events in the Oval Office. There seems to be a peculiar dichotomy. Western liberals who've now expelled your country from the West and who believe they are the world were scandalized, shocked, like the police captain in Casablanca when he discovered there was gambling going on in Rick's Cafe. And most American people who kind of thought that Zelensky got what he had coming. What was your take?
Well, I got to say, I was just absolutely shocked. I was literally 90 seconds from going on the air with the show we had prepared when my producer, Gary, saw the images of, on the side, because he'd been monitoring it, and he saw this argument going on. And so we immediately cut our show and just went with what was going on almost live as we were talking about it. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, because especially when I went back and watched the whole thing in context and watched the last few minutes, as leading into it. I did a deep dive on this whole issue and how it came about. And you can see very clearly the United States had no intention of having any kind of an explosion going on there. In fact, all they wanted to do was just have a signing ceremony and move on to whatever's next. Apparently, they didn't even want to have him in the White House for that. That was something that Zelensky himself really pressed for because of the optics. And then when you see him actually bait the vice president, and then he just kept on going. Then after it went to the president, he just kept going. He would not shut up. He just kept his mouth going, causing more of this rift. Now, what I also did in a show I did earlier today, actually, especially after he went with Sir Keir Starmer and some of the comments that he made there, what I have observed is there is this huge absence of knowledge about what's actually at stake here. You have people who already didn't like Trump, who were just beside themselves, both in the U.S. and in Europe, who were just going crazy about it and just saying they were embarrassed, they were ashamed, how undiplomatic, etc. And if you already didn't like Zelensky, then you thought that Trump and Vance made the right call. But something you said just a second ago before we came on the air here, I think is missed by so many people. This guy, forget about the $500 billion that he's in debt to the West or whatever, but his lifeblood is on the line here. And if he doesn't have the United States backstop, even Starmer himself said if the U.S. doesn't backstop these alleged peacekeeping troops that he wants to put into Ukraine, he said it's not going to work. Trump absolutely said we're not going to do that. And so to then insult the president of the United States and vice president on the very floor, the Oval Office of the symbol of American power in the White House, and think that there's not going to be a negative reaction is just baffling to me, because he is basically, Zelensky is playing with the lives of his people. Because, George, I'll tell you the one thing that nobody seems to understand, or at least not many in the West. The war is already decided. It's only the only thing still to determine is how bad the loss will be for Ukraine. Zelensky refused to negotiate, refused to administer the Minsk Accords. He refused the December 2021 offer that Putin gave again to avoid war. He refused the Istanbul meetings. He refused the June 2024 opportunity, and he's refusing the one now. He is the biggest impediment to peace, quantifiably, and he continues to send his men out every day to pointlessly die in a war that cannot be won. And people still have the audacity to suggest that Trump did something wrong, who expressly said, I want the killing to stop. If anybody cares about the people of Ukraine, it's Donald Trump.